Hello folks, welcome to another video from Gundog and Fly, and any regular viewers will know that I've been doing quite a lot of streamer fishing for various reasons that I've gone into before, and there's been a massive response to it. It's phenomenal actually, the amount of people who've contacted me in various different ways asking me all about it, and in particular what particular streamers I'm using. And in this video I'm going to be tying a streamer that has been particularly effective for me. I call it a dirty white boy. I explain that as we go on in the video. So if you're not a fly tyer, you'll probably find this video extremely boring, so you can tune out at this point. But if you're a fly tyer, tie this fly. Trust me, this really is a trout catcher. So here it comes. Okay, I'm going to make a start. Okay, the tying thread I'm going to use here it's GSP. I get this from Pescari Fly in Kilkenny, or should I say Thomastown, County Kilkenny, and it's nice and strong, and that's definitely required for this kind of fly. Now the hooks I'm going to use are these are Gamakatsu in size 2. Any good quality hook of the same size will do the same thing. So now, okay, this will be the back end of the fly, if you like. The fly comes, as I said, in 2 halves. So this will be the rear end of it. So I'm going right back, and I'm going slightly around the bend. And now this is just a cheap white hen cape, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the soft feathers, the ones that you'd normally throw away, the soft feathers right at the very back. White marabou will do the same thing, and I'm looking for the nice soft feathers. These are in fact marabou feathers really. So I'm just going to pull out a couple of these, like that, and I'm going to tie them in there like that. So this tail, if you like, extends about the length of the hook back the way, and that's what will give. And you need to go slightly around the bend with your thread, and that will prevent the tail from tangling around the hook. So keep it well back like that, and like I say, about the length of the hook shank. Now I'm just going to tie that down. Now this is a very simple fly to tie really. You can go to all kinds of elaborations if you want to, but I keep it quite simple. Now I'm going to use this stuff here. Basically what it is sparkly silver stuff on a little rope, if you like, and tie that in there. And up along. Just going to wrap that around in more or less touching turns. You don't have to be too particular. It's just to give the fly a little bit of flash. Yeah. Tie that in. Right. Now next, these are teal feathers. Now mallard will do the same. Teal flank or mallard flank, they'll do exactly the same thing. Basically what it is a barred feather. I'll show you what they look like. Just like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie one in like that. Actually I'm going to put 2 on. I'm creating, I think what it's known as is as a veil. Now whether that's the correct terminology or not, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm putting 2 feathers together like that. And there they go over the top. Now, trim that off. And now I'm going to whip finish. I have to look for my whip finisher. I'll whip finish by hand just for a moment, and then I'll find my whip finisher at some point. So I'm going to give that a double knot just to be on the safe side. So now that's the first half of the fly. That was easy, wasn't it? Because it's so big, it's very easy. So that's the back half of the fly. Get to the front half now. Right, that's part one, as I said. Take that out of the vise. And now put in the second hook. Same hook again, size 2 Gamakatsu. These are very good hooks as it happens. Very strong. Now, let's tie in on the GSP. And again, just around the bend, just slightly around the bend. Now, this is where there's a little bit of intricacy involved. We need to put the two halves of the fly together. So, first thing is, this is trace wire. It's coated. The size is 16 kgs. Okay, so it's quite strong wire. And what I'm going to do is just cut off what I deem necessary for this fly. Just that piece of wire there. Now, put the piece of wire through the eye of the back half of the fly. And now I'm going to put on, you can use all kinds of beads. I'm going to use 2 tungsten beads, white tungsten beads there. 4mm tungsten beads. Now you can use plastic beads as well, but I like to add a little bit of weight. So I hope you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just putting the 2 beads onto the wire. And now I'm going to feed the wire up through there and up through the 2 beads again. A little bit fiddly. There we are. So now, that's what we have. I'm going to pull down the 2 beads down to there. Now you see where the back half of the fly will hinge, where it will get its movement from. So what you want to do is that little loop that you can see there, that the fly is hinging on, you want to have that about the same size as one of the beads, roughly speaking. It's not in an exact science, but and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the bead, the front bead, to touch the hook and tie it in 2 or 3 turns like that. Just now the loop has opened a little, so I'm going to close it down just slightly. There we are, and that I would suggest is perfect. So now the back half and the front half of the fly are married together. And now I'm going to go up along through the wire. Now, with my little snips, I'm going to snip off one of these boys, just here. And the other one, I'm just going to snip off a small bit of it here. Right. I'm going to come to here, and now we want to make sure this is ultra secure, because we don't want the back half of the fly pulling out, particularly on a big fish. That would be most upsetting. So anyway, I've folded the wire back on itself, and I'm putting real pressure on this thread now. I'm piling the pressure down on top of it, and again just really putting pressure on the thread. And it's able for the pressure. This GSP stuff is very strong. I'm just supporting the hook while I do it. Now, next, these boys here, these are dumbbell eyes. And these are medium sized, so they're saying. Now they come in a variety of different colours. I'm just going to use yellow eyes for this one. Oop. Whether the colour of the eyes makes any real difference, I don't know, but I'm using yellow this time. So you can see how far back I am from the eye of the hook. Now I'm going to go round and under it, and I'm putting pressure on the thread. Figure of 8, figure of 8, figure of 8. Now back under it again. Plenty of turns until it's really tight. Now, if you leave your, you can transfer that to the bottom if you want the hooks to ride like the way they are there. But if you want the hooks to travel Bonos Kyun or upside down, you leave your dumbbell eyes on the top there like that, and the weight will turn the hooks back up. So in other words, your hooks will be traveling upside down, which in my view is a good idea, because you're not going to get stuck in rocks and weeds as much as you might otherwise. Now, just to make it ultra secure, I'm just going to put a tiny drop of super glue. Does anybody know of a super glue that won't get blocked up? They always get blocked up. Anyway, I'm going to free it out here using my needle. I just put a little drop on here where the dumbbell eyes are. That's it. And just give it a little spread it around there a little bit, and that will make that wire ultra secure. That will not slip out now. And it will also secure those dumbbell eyes so that they don't wander around the place. Now, okay, next we're going to put on a bit more of this whatever you want to call it. I think it's called hair straggle. That's what it's known as. I'm going to leave my thread down here this time, right? Second, now I'm going to go up through it. We'll make that ultra secure as well, and I'm going to go back down. Now again, go back to my duck flank feathers. As I said, these are teal duck. Mallard will do the same thing, or any kind of speckled feather like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie that in right there. I want this to cover those two beads. Now I want to get it in the proper position so it's lying straight back over those beads like that. Yes, that's it. Perfect. Now that's covering in a little bit of that sparkle, but that won't do any harm. Now, we're going very well. Now a couple of more. Now there's actually a brown feather and a speckled one here, so I'm going to include both of those. Tie them down again, and again I want them to kind of veil over like that. Now comes the tricky bit. I have to round it up now, the deer hair and stacker. Right, okay, deer hair. And this is my stacker for stacking deer hair. I have a lot of stuff on the table here now, so I have to try and move stuff about. Here we are. So now I've cut out a clump of deer hair like that. I'm going to put it into the hair stacker. Get in there. And now I'm going to tap it on. Just to level all the ends. Take it out. Now, you can see how far back I'm bringing it, roughly halfway along the hook, maybe 2/3 of the way along the front hook. And now 1 turn, 2 turns, and pull down, whilst supporting it with these two, with my index finger and thumb, which will prevent it spinning. Just put a couple more turns on there. onto there. Okay. Now I'm going to turn this over. And I'm going to get another lump of deer hair. I think the right terminology is clump of deer hair. Now, there we go. Now I'm going to bring that back the same length as the stuff on top. Support it. One turn, two turns, pull down. Okay, now we can go back to normal position. Good idea, this back hook. Now I'm lucky in this particular vise that I'm using allows me to put that back hook into the gap there, because if it's not in the gap, you will catch your fingers on it. Right, okay, just put everything back here. Come in front of the dumbbell eyes now. Get in there, that's it. Okay, this might look a bit rough and clumsy, maybe it is, but it will tidy up shortly. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, now another clump of deer hair, big heavy clump of deer hair, and this time I'm going to spin it around the hook. So what I do is I put one loose turn, two loose turns, and then pull straight down, and it'll rotate around the hook, and I'll follow it, work through it. There we are. Now I'm going to force this back with my fingers. I might get another little clump on there. There we are. So I'm going to go, you shorten up your thread when you're doing this, it'll make life easier. 1, 2, and pull down. There we are. Now you can see the eye of the hook is getting, this vise isn't perfect for this job. It doesn't hold the hook as securely as I'd like. Some of you know I got a new vise which is over on the table there. But to film this I have to use this vise. So here we are now, just tying this down. Now, try and find my whip finisher. Oh, here it is. Now this is a tricky bit, trying to whip finishers while you have that big head of deer hair there. It's not the easiest, but you just have to work it out the best way you can. Now I think we're going well so far. Now you see the way that hook hopped out of the gap? That's waiting there to catch my finger, so I'm going to put it back into that gap there. I'm just going to have a look and make sure everything's recording okay. Right, next thing, razor blade. Now, for obvious reasons, don't blame me if you cut yourself, but be very careful when handling razor blades, because they will cut you and you won't even know you're cut. So I grab it at either end, and I'm bending it here now, and I'm going to just make one nice cut all the way back, like that. Okay. I'm going to do the same from underneath. Now we're making progress. Now if you can do this while in the vise, all well and good. I'm going to do some of it whilst in the vise, but then I'm going to take it out to start trimming. Now there are other people who are way better than me at this procedure. I'm going to take the fly out of the vise now and go to work on it. Well, you can see one eye is exposed, the other isn't, so I need to expose the other eye. So I'm going to cut along like this until yes, there's the eye. Back along. Very careful. So eventually what you end up with when you cut the head and carve the head properly is this here. And as you can see, the head is quite broad in comparison to the rest of the fly. So basically you have a conical shape. When in the water, you have a tapered, you have a taper from back to front. And as you can see, this fly has loads of movement, and you can animate it with the tip of the fly rod, as you'll see in some of my videos, and this will provoke really aggressive attacks. So there you are, folks. That's the dirty white boy. He needs a couple of more little pieces trimmed here and there to make him perfect, if you like, but I don't think there is such a thing as a perfect fly. What we're doing is we're trying to trigger the aggressive nature of predatory fish, and this guy does this in spades. So if you're fishing Irish rivers, or maybe any other rivers, you can count on this dirty white boy to produce the goods. So that's it, folks. That's the dirty white boy. Not difficult. If you're a fly tyer, you shouldn't be a major issue for you to tie that. All you need is just the right materials and get to it. It's relatively simple stuff, but highly effective. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and if you'd like to support the channel, which would be much appreciated, I'm leaving a link in the video description to my Patreon page. So sin bhfuil uamsa don trásha be me chaintarí live an céad ór eile idir an gálinn bígí sláán agus bígí ag iascracht. Slán tamó.